Hi, welcome to a new episode of the Weekend Stories where we talk about life and anything under the sun. So, for today's episode, we'd like to talk about hobbies and dreams and why we leave them behind. In fact, why we leave them behind midway and never fully commit to it. And I'm pretty sure you'll also find a few ways as to how you can stick to your hobbies or let go of the ones that don't serve you. Right?
Yeah, so like basically a hobby, the whole topic is like a big one, right? So we'll just divide it into a few short parts. We'll just get to what hobby is, why is it important, and how to find one. And then let's just talk about why do we leave them, and then how to stick to a hobby. So coming back to the first point, why is it important, what is it, and how to find one. So basically, a hobby is something that you do outside of work. That is like a leisure activity to you, right? It makes you happy, and you feel fulfilled from it.
And it's pretty fun also usually, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the reason why is it important is because you need to have it kind of gives you an identity of who you are outside of your work. I mean, like we all say, right, that what we do is our identity.
Yeah.
But like so many of us are working in corporate, but are also like part-time artists. Are also porters, maybe poets, writers.
Part-time musicians.
Yeah,
I like
musicians.
musicians on the side. I think what you said about work really makes sense, especially because nowadays all of us have our identity only as our work identity, right?
Yeah.
So my work is my life. My work is my everything. Similar cases to other aspects of your life in case you're not working, right?
Exactly. So it's just basically a leisure activity that you
Yeah.
do to make yourself happy, and
Yeah. To give
as-
you like a little more depth in your identity.
Yeah, exactly. And like how people say sometimes that turn your hobby into your job, but then the thing is that doesn't become a job, become a hobby. As in, like, it doesn't just stay a hobby. It kind of turns into a job which you have to do daily. You can't take a break from it, right? Because that's how you earn your bread and butter. So you can't really take a break from it, and even when you don't feel like it, you still have to do it. So that doesn't just stay a hobby. So hobby is something that you do without any reason that makes you happy. You don't have an end goal to it. You just do it without any reason.
Yeah, and I think it's even important to remember the fact that I think I stand by this quote. Just heard it in an anime yesterday. So this art teacher, she said, "Let your passion remain your hobby." Right? And that really I was like, wow. Because I know, see, my hobby is anything related to literature, usually writing. So what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Okay, she can be a content writer.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I turn into a content writer, I'm sure that I'm gonna hate literature,
exactly.
and all my creativity might just die down because of the job thing that you told us.
Yeah, exactly. Because you go, you have to wake up every day and force yourself to do it even when you don't feel like doing it, right? If like say suppose you're having a burnout, and we talked about this earlier in earlier episode. So even when you don't feel like doing it, you have to do it. You have to get up and do it, because especially if you're self-employed, if you have turned your hobby into your job.
Or a small business.
Yeah, small business basically.
Yeah.
You have to do it, and because it's important for you, it's important in your life. That's how you earn your money.
Yeah.
So this is why it's important to find something that you love, but without any reason.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty important to even, I think its overall importance is that it also helps you become better at work. You know why? Because while you're, doing your hobby, say writing, singing, dancing, you're also letting your mind take a break from work. And when
yeah,
you're coming
exactly.
back, you're better at it, right? And you just aren't tied down to work. You have other things to do, other things to look up to, It just overall, it makes you really
and
happy.
then there's this sense of fulfillment, right? That you have
Yeah.
done something
Yeah.
that you love. right?
Yeah.
Like when you, maybe you're an artist and you have an art piece that you really love, but like you have done it without any reason. You don't plan to sell it. Maybe you just want to hung it up on a wall, right? And you feel nice every time you look at it because
Yeah, there's this sense of like I did this.
yeah, exactly.
You know, I think there's a little bit of fulfillment, even more so if you don't do it for money and if you're not asked to do it. So it's kind of the same vibe as doing the dishes on your own.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
while you're asked to do it, you're like, well, now I'm not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not necessarily that your job sucks, and maybe you like your job, maybe you love your job, but we all need a break from the
Yeah,
job, right?
we all need like another dimension.
Yeah, exactly. Something something other than your work that you would like to do, and
Yeah,
know
something just for the sake of making yourself cool and for the sake of,
something
just
that
getting a mental
something
break.
more like something just for the sake of doing it,
Yeah, something that takes you into another world, you should probably do that because
and you don't think much about
yeah,
doing
you don't need to think too much also. I mean,
Yeah, if it's
sure
like
it
turning
should yeah, sure it should be a little bit challenging. All things are challenging and tough. But that
No-
doesn't mean you leave them, but it shouldn't be like a challenge every single
like,
day.
and it depends on person to person
But
also.
yeah, it depends.
Like for some people hobbies might be something, they might like something that is very easy, and they enjoy doing it, and that's absolutely fine.
That's great. That's good. But they would also have their tough phases, right?
Yeah, they
Where
would,
there's
they
a
would.
tough stage, you know?
Yeah, basically what we are talking about here is patience.
Patience.
You need to have a little bit of patience, like while when you get into your new hobby, basically.
And I think discipline.
Yeah, a little discipline that you do it, like if you love it, obviously.
Yeah.
If you love it, you do it every day for some
Yeah.
time. Get a time aside for you, and then
Discipline takes people like a long way. Discipline, patience. I think it takes people a long, long way, and we don't really realize it.
yeah, exactly.
And
Uh,
how do you think we should find a hobby? What are your hobbies, and how did you find one?
So basically, I have a lot of hobbies. I think I do have a lot of hobbies. So one of them is playing basketball. Okay, it's not like something that I would take it professionally or something, but it's just something I love to do. Right? I just
Yeah.
love to play. Go out with my friends and play for some time. Then the other thing is drawing art, drawing comics, and then I guess a new hobby that I just picked up, like it's not a hobby, I would say. Like I have plans for it to monetize it,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't say it is hobby, but at this stage it's a hobby,
Yeah.
right? So at this stage I picked up lettering, which is kind of a hobby, you can say, for right now. For some time it's a hobby, and basically it's just like you could just try it and try to do it, right?
Yeah.
But like trying as in, like even I found a lot of Instagram posts, and then I thought it was cool to try, and I tried it, and maybe I liked it, and then I started doing it and I loved it. That's how a thing became my hobby, right? One of those hobbies
Yeah.
became my hobby.
Yeah.
But actually there's a good point to it which I'll come to soon. But basic thing is to try and see what you like.
Yeah, something
See-
that really grabs your attention, like I want to learn this, but also we'll talk more about this later on, but also give it a fair amount of time before you judge yourself.
Yeah, like basically do something that you would love doing daily, right? Without any reason.
Yeah.
Like even if it turns out bad, you'll say, okay, no problem, I'll do it tomorrow, it'll be better.
Yeah.
Let's just like call it quits
Something
for
that
today.
you have fun doing, basically. There's like, if you're still confused, I recommend, because I'm a fellow confused soul, I recommend that we go onto Google and just type hobbies.
Yeah.
Right? Just type list of hobbies, and then whatever picks your eye, just go for it.
Yeah, you could do that as well. But I think there's a good rule, this is a good rule that I follow. Is basically, if you can call it quits while you're doing it, then it's a hobby. When you don't feel pressurized to like do something, continue something. So like for example, I draw stuff. So I'll just give you example in that sense. So, for example, I'm drawing something, okay? I'm drawing a piece, okay? A piece of art, and I don't feel like it anymore, right? I don't feel like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll just call it quits.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't really focus that much on it, and I'll just call it quits. I'll watch something on YouTube maybe, and just chill.
Give yourself a break,
Yeah,
basically,
for a
and come
while.
back because it's a hobby. It's not a job or
Yeah,
something you're forced to do.
and it's not, and you shouldn't feel like coming back to it forcefully. Like, oh no, I have to do something. I have to do that shit like again.
Yeah.
I have to go back to it. I have to complete it somehow. It's like, okay, maybe like I can do it tomorrow if I feel like it. It should be
Yeah,
somewhat like that
there's like
attitude.
a certain amount of curiosity wherein you're like, I want to see my work finished or I want to see how this goes further. But beyond that curiosity, if there is a lot of pressure which you're giving yourself, think about whether you actually like it or whether you're doing it to show it to your friends, family, or whether you're just doing it because you've
Yeah.
maybe earned money
Y-
and
y-
made it into a job.
Yeah, maybe like or maybe if you're doing it because you thought it would make a lot of money. Like that is also a reason why people pick up these things, and
Yeah.
they invest so much just before knowing if they're gonna love it or not.
And do you know why exactly do we leave our hobbies midway? Have you ever left a hobby midway?
I think I have left a couple of hobbies midway, like I don't remember, but I'm sure I have left quite a lot of hobbies midway. Maybe I had left drawing, stuff midway. I picked it back because I had a thing for it, so I kind of picked it back. But I had left it because that's what I remember because I picked it back, right? So
Yeah.
that's fresh in my memory. So that's what I remember that I left.
Do you remember why you exactly left? Was it because you did not have the time or the expenses for
Actually,
it?
what I think the main problem with that is that I lost patience. Because you need a quite bit of time to like get around things and
Learn.
draw, right?
Yeah.
So like I think I lost my patience, and then maybe I think I left it.
It makes sense actually because again it ties down to the point that we mentioned before, right? Whereas you should give yourself enough time and patience. Let's add patience to it before you actually judge yourself whether or not you're good enough. I think I heard someone in a video saying that if you are playing a guitar, for example, give yourself 3 years before you decide you're good at it or not. And I was like, oh my god, okay.
Yeah, like
That's a hobby that I left, and my reason was fear, lack of patience, lack of discipline, because I was just 15 back then, right?
yeah.
I heard it in a video, plus I confirmed it from my teacher, who was my cousin. He said, yeah, it's true. Give yourself a lot of time, because I've given myself 10 years and I still think I'm not, the best, but I would love to play every single day. And I think, in short, if I were to list down why do we never fully commit, I think the top reason would be lack of patience. Then we'd have, say, lack of time. We can't manage our time, or we have too many people managing our time. Listen to our episode on boundaries for that, by the way. Then we have, did I say fear?
Oh, I think you did. I'm not sure.
Same, no problem. Fear, because that's just
Oh,
that
yeah, we did,
important.
we did.
No problem. It's mega important. So I've said it twice.
Yeah.
That's the reason. Lack of money at times. If you have an expensive hobby like the one I picked, which was trying fine dining.
I think one another reason could be being a critic to yourself.
Yeah, being too harsh
Yeah, being too harsh basically.
or
like-
judging too soon.
yeah, judging too soon. So basically, when if it doesn't work out, the way you were thinking it might, like
Yeah.
because there's a big gap between imagination and reality, right?
Yeah.
So something you imagine might not have turned out like that
Yeah.
good, and you might think, oh no, I'm not really good at this. I just maybe I
Yeah.
should just leave it. So I think that's where like a lot of hobbies also drop down.
That makes a lot of sense because I read this article where someone was mentioning about leaving their hobbies and really questioning it. And I think she spoke to a some okay she I think she spoke to a psychologist, I'm not sure, or a neurologist, I'm not really sure, but she spoke to someone who works in this field, right, who knows the mind, body, brain, right? So there the person was actually saying, while the reasons could be like lack of self-discipline, money, time, the reason could also be, if we don't know the reason properly, mostly the reason that this everything stems out from is going out of our comfort zone, right? Because our brains are literally wired to go onto survival mode, right? So since the brain is the survival organ, it focuses on survival. And how do you focus on that? You stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah,
And if you
exactly.
go a little bit outside that, your brain is not used to that. Your brain is like, let's go back, it's not safe.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what's happening. And this is why you need to have patience and discipline to sort of combat that.
Yeah, you need to give yourself a little bit more time,
And a little bit more credit, So I think this is a good time to start the topic on how can we try to fully commit to a hobby.
Yeah, basically stick to your hobby that you have taken up.
Yeah.
Right. So the first thing is like, you decide if you actually like it or if you do it because,
If someone else likes it, or someone said they like it, right?
Yes, someone else said it, or someone posted on Instagram like a really cool reel or something, and you thought, oh, maybe this looks cool. Even I could do that.
Yeah.
Right. Not everything. You can't do everything. You won't enjoy doing everything. So you need to find something that's enjoyable to you.
That nourishes you, sort of. Right?
Yeah,
it brings you happiness, and you're just like, yes, I want to do this.
Basically, what we are coming at is something that would, make you happy after a long, tired day.
True.
Yeah, even if you're tired and if you do it just for 5 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
Even if it's just talking, right? Even if you just want to talk, you can just, no need to even make a podcast. You can just record yourself. You need to vent out, maybe. That could be a hobby.
Thanks. Need.
Yeah, so like even if that makes you happy, talking to your friend, yeah.
I think journaling is also a good.
Yeah, that's a
hobby.
way of talking.
No, journaling. That's a great way of talking, by the way, but not like really talking. But I think it's a good habit plus like a good hobby, especially those journaling techniques where you use a lot of washi tapes and stickers. I love that. I want that as my hobby, but I'm simply too scared because I'm not that creative. I've made myself believe that.
Yeah.
So, my friends, you pick up a hobby, I'll pick up a hobby, and then I'm gonna maybe post on our socials, follow those by the way, on how I'm doing with my washi tape journey. And see what I would like to suggest from this washi tape thing is, before actually starting a hobby, figure out as much as you can, why do you want to do it? As Pawan said, why do I want to do it? Am I interested? Is someone forcing me? Do I want to impress my classmate? Do I want to impress my colleague who also likes knitting and now I like knitting? Figure that out. Why do I want to do it? Where do I see myself in the next few months or years, right? So
actually, you don't even need to think about it.
As much as you can. Like, I mean, you cannot just you can randomly begin, but to really stick to it, this is what people have told me, that if you really want to stick to it, at some point or the other, preferably the start, but on some point of the other, you have to sort of think, right? Like, why am I doing this? So that you can find that motivation. And there's even more motivation when you figure out, where do I see myself? So
yeah, also breaking down the hobby that you're doing. Say suppose you gave a really example of knitting, right?
Yeah.
So maybe knitting a really simple and easy piece, like a small piece or something.
Yeah.
That could be your start.
Yeah, and then maybe like say, okay, I'm a knitting enthusiast, but I just look at that, right? I don't do it. So I'm just giving this example. I hope I'm right. So in the first month, I will learn to make simple pieces, but by the end of 3 months, I might see myself knitting, say, a crop top, right? Maybe I can reach there, and that gets me so excited. Doesn't that get you excited? So,
Exactly.
that excitement, our brains are babies basically. That excitement will just get you motivated. You're like, nah, man, I have to do this. It's fine if I'm failing, I have to do this, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to reach that, point where you'll get it. So there's something that's driving you, like,
Yeah, that's like, you know what? This will be so cool when I do this, right? Or suppose you're learning guitar. By the end of 1 month, I want to learn how to play a rhyme or like 2 nursery rhymes. By the end of 1 month, I want to learn that. That would be so cool. And then you'd be like, you know what? By the end of 2 months, on my way to play a great song. So, preferably, you could write this down so that you don't have to really think again and again, because when the days are bad, your brain just forgets these good things. So this helps in keeping you motivated when you want to give up. And next thing is deciding how easy it would be for you to do it, or if you want to do something that is challenging. I think Pawan has already spoken on it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, the thing is, you have to decide whether you want something that is easy or whether you want something, that is challenging.
Yeah.
So maybe you like a little bit more challenge and you don't want to get bored, right? So you find something that is a little bit more challenging, than normal hobbies, and maybe mountain climbing is a hobby.
It could be. Yeah, it is.
It is, and it's quite challenging, right?
And if that drives you and makes you excited to wake up,
Exactly, yeah.
go climb that mountain.
Yeah, exactly. And even trekking can be a hobby. And if you like,
Those are very healthy hobbies, I must say.
no, I'm just
very-
giving hobbies that
Yeah.
that are hard to do, like
that are harder to do than usual, right?
yeah,
they are absolutely.
exactly. So
You figure that out, right? So, for example, you might love trekking. I will sit down and do my washi tape, right? And both of us are valid. Both of us are doing great. Both of us are doing what we love the most. And that's what matters, right?
yeah,
And again, if you want, you can find a friend to do it with you. So if I'm embarking on my washi tape journey, I'm sure I'm gonna tell my best friend, I'm gonna be like, listen, I bought washi tapes, okay? And then like that sort of builds like a cycle of accountability. You don't even realize it, where you can show it to a friend, basically show it to a friend or a best friend who doesn't judge you when you quit it, okay? So you do that. Send it to them, show them your progress, let them cheer for you. If you make a mistake, that's fine. Take a break,
yeah. So
come back.
so
right?
like finding a person who will kind of motivate you to get back at it when
Yeah.
you are when you're feeling like giving up.
Yeah, and if they know you so well, and if you're like stuck, they'll help you to, tell you that, you
Yeah.
know what, maybe you're doing this wrong because I know you're a person who does this. So maybe change that and your hobby will become interesting.
Yeah, and
again.
if you find someone who is doing the same hobby as you, and that's even great, because
Yeah.
you both can help each other when one of you is down, right?
Exactly, and it becomes even more exciting. to
Yeah,
do it.
because see, at the end of the day, we are social animals, right? We need a little bit of human connection here and there.
We do, yeah.
For some people, it's really less, and that's fine. But like at the end of the day, we do have a best friend.
Yeah, we do. Everybody needs a best friend, even if we think we don't. We are hardwired to form connections.
And it's just good to like have someone to talk about things.
And
So that like kind of leads you to it's like a cycle, like your friend motivates you and you get better maybe because of that motivation.
Yeah.
And your friend now sees you're kind of doing really well, and even then that
they
person
get motivated.
yeah, they get
right?
motivated.
They're just like, okay, she can do this, so can I. Let's have fun here.
Yeah, and they get better at it, and then you see them, and it's like a
Yeah,
cycle where you
it's
both
like-
get better.
Exactly. And okay, number one advice, please do not invest way too much money before investing in your washi tapes.
Yeah, exactly.
Please invest
The-
only as much as you want and as much as you can, because listen, sometimes when we give ourselves enough time to figure out whether we like to do that hobby or not, we might just not like it, right? And for example, if I pick up like a piano, that costs a lot. You guys know how much that costs. That costs a lot. There is no way I can buy one up front, right? I would have to go to classes, say, give myself enough time to check out whether I really need it at home or I don't. Right?
Yeah.
Because what if I do not like playing
exactly.
the piano after like a week, right? Now that investment of money puts a guilt into me, not a motivation. It's a pressure and a guilt. I've spent so much money. Now I need to force myself to get into this hobby.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe, the way to like tackle this maybe could be if you want if you really like a expensive hobby, maybe you could try it out like first, like maybe you have a friend who has a piano at home.
Yeah.
You could maybe try it with them, just tell them to teach you basics first.
Yeah, or just if you're into fashion, right? And your new hobby is trying to get better at fashion and maybe become a fashion influencer.
Yeah,
Right?
just try with
thrift your clothes.
Yeah,
for some time.
thrift your clothes
till the
or
time you can actually figure out, hey, I love doing this.
Or maybe,
then you buy. Then if you want, you can buy.
Yeah, maybe you can even like stitch your own clothes. That could be a thing if you have a stitching machine. All right. So if you have it at home,
Only if you're like also into stitching, because some people do not like me. Some people do not like stitching, but we like wearing
yeah, no.
clothes.
By that like stitching, I meant like maybe
Wherever you can,
Yeah,
try
wherever-
making your own things.
Yeah,
right?
not completely like not from ground zero.
Yeah.
But like maybe you have some clothes that maybe you could just tweak it a little.
Alter.
Yeah, alter
Yeah.
it a little bit and
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So
And
you can just alter your old clothes and maybe make it a little bit more aligned to your taste, I could
Yeah.
say. More what you like, and then you could mix and match with your new clothes, whatever you have existing clothes, and maybe you can try out with that first.
basically, don't invest too much.
Yeah, don't
Take
just
take some time
yeah,
to
just
think
start
it
a
out.
little slow. Start a little slow, and then when you think that you're really
Yeah.
good at it. So, for example, I already had a good laptop, right? So I invested in a really cheap, like drawing tablet. It's a really small one, but it was just better to try it out that way, right? Because it's really cheap, and I wouldn't feel bad. The thing is, if you invest cheap at the start, you wouldn't feel bad if you don't like it.
Yeah, basically find cheaper alternatives, and then once you really like that hobby, once you're committed to it, to
Yeah, then
stay
you
more
could-
committed to it and to stay motivated and to buy, say, higher end equipment, invest that money. Again, we've talked about,
And also, like, I just like to add something like, invest only if you feel like, if you really think, if you really believe that this is something that, you would love any time of the day. Okay, so to conclude this, like, so what do we do with this information, right? So just start small, just, start something really small, something that you could maybe, invest a little bit, a small amount, and then get started.
yeah.
And or maybe something you could just try it out for a while and then get started and to see if you really like it. So so small steps in doing something that you would love to do is the key, basically.
Yeah.
Right? You need to enjoy it. You need to really, really enjoy it, like from your heart. It should make you really happy, and you should be connected to who you are, basically. I know it
Yeah.
sounds very cliche, but like it should be something that you are, what your personality is. Like
Yeah.
if you're someone outdoor, you can't just take up an indoor hobby and expect it to like it. Maybe you would like it, but like you can't really expect it, to
Yeah.
stick with it.
Patience is also key. Patience, discipline, that's key too, right? And if you love something, there's a chance that you won't regret it, right?
Yeah, and if you really love something, even if you spend a lot of money, for example, I just recently bought an iPad. I won't regret it. I don't regret it yet. Still, I don't regret it because I love, what I do, right? And it makes me happy to do those things. Even, when I'm really tired, I just doodle around. and that makes me really happy. So it's not something that I would hate, in long term, that I wouldn't like to do. I wouldn't go back to doing it. So yeah, you could say that, if you really love that thing from your heart, maybe you can just give it a little bit of investment, and that is fine. Investment at that time is fine.
True, true. So, we hope you like this episode and take what you resonate with and leave the rest. That's absolutely fine. We've also left a few resources or links for you to get you started on what are hobbies, how can you get some, why do we leave them. Because once you truly understand about something, you can tackle it better, right? So, see you next time. Follow our socials, our YouTube, and
And
rate us on Spotify.
yeah, exactly, if you really like this episode, you can just hit the like button, subscribe, do all those things. If you're on Spotify or any other platform, music platform or
Yeah.
podcast player,
Consider rating it.
consider rating us. I mean, it means a lot. It just motivates us to get back to it and do it. So yeah, that's it. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.